Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and back to a new video. You know, today was supposed to be my day off. That's why I'm dressed like this and I look like a bum. Because I was supposed to just relax today, okay? I was supposed to just Netflix and chill. But then I get an alert on my phone that Joe Biden has officially dropped out of the race.
President Joe Biden has just announced that he is dropping out of the 2024 presidential race in a stunning letter that was just released moments ago by his campaign on X, formerly known as Twitter.
I had to do a double take when I was scrolling. What? He actually did it? So here's the thing. I think we all knew he was going to drop out of the race, right? I don't think this is really a shock. The question was always, when is he going to do it and how is he going to do it? There definitely were talks of Nancy Pelosi and a lot of the Democrats and higher ups telling him he needed to drop out immediately. He can't win. He has to drop out. And so we knew it was coming. You could sort of feel it in the air. And I guess today was just the day for him to do it on a Sunday. So I want to make this video just about my thoughts of what I think is going to happen, my predictions for the 2024 election. What does this mean for Donald Trump? What does this mean for the Democrat Party? And who in the world are they going to pick for the new nominee? Who's it going to be? Let's get into this. All right, now they are doing some work outside my house, so if you hear drilling or any sounds like that, I apologize. It's kind of, again, was supposed to be my day off from filming. So Joe Biden posted this message to the American people. So let's read it together really fast. So it says, "My fellow Americans, over the past 3.5 years, we have made great progress as a nation. Today, America has the strongest economy in the world. We've made historic investments in rebuilding our nation, in lowering prescription drug costs for seniors, and I'm expanding affordable health care to a record number of Americans. We've provided critically needed care to 1 million veterans exposed to toxic substances, passed the first gun safety laws in 30 years, appointed the first African-American woman to the Supreme Court, and passed the most significant climate legislation in the history of the world. America has never been better positioned to lead than we are today. I know none of this could have been done without you, the American people. Together, we overcame a once-in-a-century pandemic and the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. We've protected and preserved our democracy, and we've revitalized and strengthened our alliances around the world. It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president, and while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. I will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision. For now, let me express my deepest gratitude to those who have worked so hard to see me re-elected. I want to thank Vice President Kamala Harris for being an extraordinary partner in all this work. And let me express my heartfelt appreciation to the American people for the faith and trust you have placed in me. I believe today what I always have, that there is nothing America can't do. We have to remember we are the United States of America, Joe Biden." Okay, so here are my thoughts about this letter and about what he is doing. First of all, we know that this was not his decision, right? He was pushed out. The optics matter, right? If Joe Biden, I want to say maybe 1.5 years ago, had made it known that, listen, I'm only going to serve one term and then I'm going to pass the torch. And the Democrat Party can choose what they want to do after that. But I want you guys to know that I'm not running for a second term for the following reasons. And he just put it out there. If he had done that, it would have given the Democrats enough time to galvanize a new candidate, to strategize for a new candidate, and to get people excited about a new candidate who could run, right? Because you would have, I'm sure, a primary of Democrats campaigning for themselves, and you would have candidates, and it would be a very competitive race. Because Biden waited till the last hour, and up until 15 minutes ago, he was saying, I'm staying in a race, I'm not leaving, I'm staying right here, I'm strong enough, I'm good enough, no one's pushing me out. He was pushed out, right? So what it does is it doesn't give the Democrats a whole lot of time to strategize for a new candidate. It doesn't give them a whole lot of time to find a new candidate who can get acclimated fast enough to gain traction for the American people, because we only have about 3.5 months left until the general election. This is literally the last hour that he's doing this. So it's completely disorganized. It's completely backwards to me. And it's very clear that the Democrat Party is upside down right now. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know who they're going with. They're lost. They're scared of Donald Trump. They're definitely were pooping in their pants last week when Donald Trump was almost killed, because it just gave him the motivation to continue to run. It gave him the perception of being very strong. And the Democrat Party, the other hand, was looking weak, right? With a weak candidate and a backwards party that's fighting amongst themselves. So now you have Biden out of the race. Now the question is, okay, who's going to come in place of him? Now, Joe Biden has officially endorsed Kamala Harris. He posted this about 10 minutes ago. My fellow Democrats, I have decided not to accept the nomination and to focus all of my energies on my duties as president for the remainder of my term. My very first decision as the party nominee in 2020 was to pick Kamala Harris as my vice president, and it has been the best decision I've ever made. Today, I want to offer my full support and endorsement for Kamala to be the nominee of our party this year, Democrats. It's time to come together and beat Trump. Let's do this. Now, here are my thoughts about Kamala Harris, right? So obviously, we all know that Kamala was going to be the most obvious choice because she's young, she's the vice president. It makes sense that if he's going to leave, that she would take his place. But this is very unconventional, right? The only way that a vice president normally gets the nomination is if the sitting president is either impeached and has to leave office or croaks, and by default, she becomes the president. This situation is very odd, right? Because we have a president who just yesterday was telling us, I'm ready to go, I'm not going nowhere. And now all of a sudden, he's out and is now endorsing Kamala Harris. But why didn't you endorse her 5 months ago? Why didn't you endorse her a year ago, right? Like, if you truly believe that she was ready and you're stepping down because you obviously can't fulfill the duties, why didn't you feel confident enough in her abilities to name her or to push for her to be the next president last year? So I do not believe him when he says that he has full confidence that she can do the job, because if that were the case, he would have named her as his endorsed candidate a long time ago when he knew that the party did not want him to run again. That's number one. Number two, if you remember, when Kamala Harris ran for president the first time in 2019, she was polling, I believe, at 3% amongst the other Democrats. She was polling so low, she wasn't even in the race. She was one of the first people to drop out of the primaries back in 2019 because she was polling so low and she had no support. None. So the fact that the person who couldn't even break 5% in the polls is now suddenly the best candidate for the job is laughable. The other obvious thing is this. Kamala Harris is not polling very well right now. She's only polling, I think, maybe 2% higher than Biden nationally, and she's still trailing Donald Trump in the swing states, and she's still trailing Donald Trump in general head-to-head polls. Like, she's not doing well, which is why the Democrat Party was talking about Gavin Newsom and Gretchen and every other Democrat as a possibility to replace Joe Biden. No one was talking about Kamala Harris. She was like last on the list. Nobody was talking about her. You would think if she was such a great candidate and she was such a great person for the party, wouldn't she have been in the forefront of everybody's mouth on the Democrat side when they were talking about who could possibly replace Biden? Like, all of the political pundits weren't talking about Kamala Harris. They were talking about everyone else. So again, there really is no confidence that the Democrat Party has in Kamala for obvious reasons. She is not polling well. And if you don't poll well, you've lost the race, which is why Democrats were not excited about going with Kamala Harris or having her replace Joe Biden, because they know that the overall goal for them is to beat Donald Trump. And we need somebody who's going to be strong enough to beat Donald Trump. Is that really Kamala Harris? I doubt it. She is not polling well. People don't like her. I'd even say a lot of the black community does not like her because they feel like she's a fraud. When she was DA of California, she put more black men behind bars for marijuana than anybody else. Like, she does not have a good rap. She does not have a good rap as somebody who is for the community and who can run the party. And so I just don't see her as a viable candidate. Now, it is important to note, just because Joe Biden has endorsed her doesn't mean she is the official nominee. They still have to go through a full nominee process. I'm sure next month it'll happen during the Democrat convention and they'll figure it out. But again, that only leaves them 2 months, 2 months until the election, because that'll be in August. So again, time is running out. This is like the bottom of the ninth and they're doing this now. Like, it just looks so disorganized, and I don't think this is going to bode well for them at all. I think if they go with somebody else, Trump may be in trouble. Kamala Harris, I'm confident he can beat her. I really am. Now, here's the other thing, right? The Democrats have shot themselves in the foot, because if they don't go with Kamala Harris, then they are going to face a massive backlash, because Democrats are or have become the party of identity politics. And there is no way that you can justify, if you're a Democrat, overlooking the possible first black female nominee to be president for Gavin Newsom, a white guy from California. It just doesn't look well. The optics don't fit for the Democrat Party because they don't care about who's most qualified. They don't care about who can fit the ticket best. They care about what boxes they can check. And Kamala Harris checks all of the boxes. She's female, she's black, done. There it is. So it's going to be hard for them to overlook her without dealing with a massive backlash from the black community and from progressive liberals. Just listen to Sonny Hostin just last week talking about the possibility of Democrats overlooking Kamala Harris and what that would mean for the election.
Kamala, if she is leapfrogged and there's just some open convention, no Democratic nominee can win without the black vote. Black women will not support Kamala Harris being looked over. Why? Because she is ready, overlooked. But she is ready to be the president. She's been in the Oval Office with him. She's been in the Situation Room with him. How dare people suggest that she is incompetent?
She said it. And although I don't like Sunny Hostin, I do agree with her. I think that if they don't go with Kamala Harris, they're going to have to find a way to justify overlooking her, and it's not going to bode well for them. Unless they replace her with another black woman, possibly, or a black man. It has to be a person of color, preferably black, in order for this to make sense to replace Kamala Harris or to overlook Kamala Harris. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. Ain't going to work because Democrats are about identity politics, and you can't overlook a nominee or a possible nominee like Kamala Harris and make it make sense for that party and their needs. Just ain't gonna happen. But again, she's not polling well. So they've shot themselves in the foot. They're stuck with a candidate they don't like, but who fits all the boxes. What are they gonna do? Now, I did look over on some blog sites when this first came out, and this is from the Shade Room. Now, the Shade Room on Instagram is a majority urban blog Instagram account where they post a lot of things about black culture and the hip-hop community, etc., etc. And of course, they talked about what just happened. And I was looking at some of the comments because I feel like the comments on the Shade Room usually give you a gauge of what the overall census or what the feel is right now within the community. And people are not that excited. Not shocked. So let's see. Let's go over some of the comments that I was able to find. So this person put, that debate is going to be hilarious. Remember, nobody liked her the first time around, and that's how Biden became the nominee the first time. She got about 2% of the Democrat vote and left early on. Trump is going to dominate this election. I 1000% agree with her. Like, Kamala Harris dropped out so fast because she was not popular. So what would change now? In fact, people dislike her more that she's been VP because they feel like she hasn't done anything. So I'm just trying to figure out how she's going to sell to the American people that she's the best person for this job. Somebody put Trump 2024 says, enough said. Somebody put, we don't want Kamala either. Another person, sadly, she doesn't stand a chance. We have to be very realistic from here on out. Another person put, this is so annoying. He should have done this after the debate. We're a little less than 4 months out from the election, and Kamala has no momentum with the blue states. I can't see her winning these votes in the election. I could actually throw up right now. Very good point. Somebody else said, nobody voting for her but a bunch of black women. He said it, not me. Another person, he pretty much screwed the Democrat Party. He should have dropped out a long time ago because he knew he wasn't fit to run again. I agree with that. Another person, Joe should have endorsed her 2 years ago and announced he'd be a one-term president, but I still think this is the right move. Most Dems were voting against Trump and not necessarily for Biden. That won't change, and now Trump will need a better strategy than just attacking Joe's declining health. That is a good point because obviously Donald Trump was able to use the fact that Joe Biden is senile and losing his mind as a way to say, this is why I'm better, right? Now, if they go with Kamala or anybody else, most likely is going to be a younger person, most likely younger than Trump. And so the whole health age thing you can't really use if you're on Trump's side because the Democrat nominee is most likely going to be a younger person. So that's kind of out the window right now for Donald Trump. And I think Donald Trump's best chance of winning a second term would have been going up against Joe Biden because Joe Biden was a walking corpse. And so now that he's out, this is going to be an obstacle for Donald Trump. I don't think it's going to be the death of him. I still think he has a good chance of winning, especially if he's up against Kamala Harris. But if they don't go with Kamala and they go with somebody else who's more energized, who maybe is more likable than she is, it could be a problem for Donald Trump. I mean, that is just the reality of the situation. People want a reason to vote for somebody. And right now with Biden, they were voting against Trump. It wasn't for Biden. But if they pick somebody who's more popular than Kamala Harris, it could swing the momentum against Trump and it could be a problem. So this definitely is not going to be an easy election for either party. Yeah, so that's just what the overall consensus is right now online. But of course, this literally just broke. Like, I'm making this video 15 minutes after it broke. So I'm sure by the time I upload this video, more information will be out. And you guys already know I will be posting more information as it comes out and updating you guys because this is breaking news. I just had to make a video really quickly to give my thoughts because it was running through my mind. And I'm like, this is crazy. I got to talk about it. I'm not ready. I'm not even dressed, but it's okay. Let's talk about it. Who cares, right? So yeah, this is insane. This election season is going to be unlike any other. I don't think we've ever seen an election season where the Democrat incumbent drops out 3 months before the election. Like, that's just insane. That just doesn't happen. Wow. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Does this mean doom for Donald Trump and a possible win in November, or do you still have faith that he can pull this out regardless of who they pick? I think it's probably going to be Kamala Harris, especially because she's the only person who can inherit the funds that he has already accumulated for the past couple of months. Nobody else can. If they go with Gavin Newsom or some other Democrat, that person is going to have to fundraise from scratch due to campaign laws. Kamala Harris is the only one who can inherit the millions that they've raised. So it makes sense to go with her. But again, the polls don't lie. She is not popular. She is not doing well. The Democrats know this, and I guarantee you their heads are spinning right now over what to do. Who do we pick? Where do we go? What do we do? If you enjoy my content, please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. And if you want to watch more social and political commentary videos, click on the links over here and enjoy. Peace.